So now we're recording again after that crash. So
Good.
apologies to people who uh, were expecting a video. My computer crashed again and corrupted the OBS file. I've got a method to fix that in the future, but hindsight is 2020. Okay, so where do we start?
Shame the session was quite hilarious
It
in
was.
many aspects.
So I think we should start with uh the poisoning, I guess, because that was at the very start of the
Hmm.
session, I believe.
Yes, the party stopped off at an inn in the town of Xaner, uh, and they had a one drinking contest.
It was Thunk versus three other adventurers who were already tipsy, and the drinking contest was over a barrel of wyvern's blood.
Yes.
And if they won, they got rounds on the house all night, which Renji had already paid for to keep Thunk in tent. So Thunk went 5 drinks deep in tankards about as big as his head, and then after that, the wyvern's blood went to our dear rat friend Elmarek. Then after that, Elmarek and freaking Dabanon started discussing um, Elmarek's love life, which proceeded Thunk to start drinking heavily. And I mean, the boy went through 2 kegs before he failed a con save.
It'd be like that when you mention an uncountable number of kills as well as 2 dozen conquests slash lovers.
Slaying witches and slaying bitches. Or no, it's slaying bitches and laying witches, as it were.
And
Then,
mentioning that he had 3 daughters that he knows of.
yep. Let's see. Debanon was drinking alcohol along with Dunk. She says he says unconsensually, but we didn't force it down his throat. And for once, Bryn's character actually passed a con save with a nat 20. Good on you, Bryn.
Mhm.
Little did we know until Elmarek pointed it out later. Uh, Brynlin's character, Debanon, uh, was given poison specifically suited to kill a dwarf in 3 days. While Thunk, after ingesting 2 kegs of beer, or was it hard ale?
It was beer.
Okay. So after ingesting 2 kegs of beer and five, that was also poisoned. The 5 ales, though, tankards were not poisoned. Um, so Thunk failed a Constitution save at disadvantage because of the poison, and he was instantly knocked out. Carried back up to his room that was purchased by Renji, and ended up getting spooned with, fully clothed with Lily, mare from 2 towns over. Bryn passed all her con saves and was put to sleep and tucked into bed. Then the party suddenly realized that the poisons were uh, draconic in nature, as in the Emperor that is sworn enemies with Renji's country.
More specifically, the Dragonborn Empire in its totality.
Thank you. Uh, they realized this after Nord had drunk the poison, and we all figured out this wasn't happenstance. They're trying to kill us. So Renji, ever so stoutful, orders 2 drinks, has the server drink one with him, and he fakes drinking the other and brings it up and analyzes it, and this is how we find this information out. So, um, after that, the morning after, Thunk not being aware that he has been poisoned, goes to the bar and tries to order another drink at 6 o'clock in the morning before the sun is up. No one answers. Everyone stirs awake except for Lily and Kusali, Nord's vampire waifu. And
in
apparently
the
they
absence.
got busy in a room full of people last night. Not
But didn't
not
go
all the
too
way.
far.
Didn't go too far, but still the bed was shaking and Renji and Elmarek were in the room and their son, the Kobold Quatil, was under the bed.
If I remember correctly, he said something along the lines of, Master is alright to come out now. The bed stopped shaking a few hours ago, but,
So after the revelation and being told, before Thunk goes into the back room to find ale to drink, and he's told he's been poisoned. They figure out it's from that person, but they don't know who exactly poisoned them. So Thunk goes, or Nord decides to go in the freezer, or was it Renji?
it was Renji.
And
um, well, and actually, no. Okay, Renji tried to investigate and failed, and then Elmeric entered and went into the freezer, and the two of you followed, and you found the corpse of the server that was giving you poison before.
yeah, and to our surprise, her back was slit open, but the bones were there still, which was puzzling because we couldn't figure that out until Arashi rolled a 26 history check and discovered that it was a Warforged. Um, so now the party has a Warforged assassin on their heels. And according to our group, the poison we ingested is supposed to take 3 days to kill us. And we don't know where the Warforged is because he doesn't emit magic. Um, he smells, acts, and basically he blends into a crowd with no named nobodies. So he's a very dangerous assassin
And normally while Almaric can sense souls and minds and read minds, he could not do so with the Warforged.
because
An interesting bit of information.
Warforged don't have souls or souls of their own, and if so, it's bound. And they don't exactly have a mind. They get orders and they follow it. Uh, and let's see. After that, we went to see the mayor, and oh wait, Devanon did not wake up after she was poisoned and passed out. So Thunk carried him to the ship. Sorry, I keep mixing up Devanon's gender.
Character. Yeah.
Yeah, character gender. So Thunk carries his best friend to the ship. Renji carries a bunch of other stuff to the ship that I don't particularly remember, and informs the crew on the ship, which is the lieutenant or the captain and his men, that there is a warforged to keep an eye out
Mhm.
and make sure you check everybody's necks. Then after that, Thunk, the captain of the human captain of the different ship that brought us into port last episode at the end, um, Kusali, Quatil, Lily, um, Renji, and Nord all go to the mayor's house. After entering, Thunk basically does what Thunk does best, bad manners. Uh, oh, and we established a running joke that mayors either want to get with Thunk or murder Thunk. So, yeah, that happened. How that happened, I don't know.
majority. The majority always generalizes things.
Yeah. So Thunk ends up pissing off the mayor, and the mayor attempts to use a physical trait, dominate person, or at least a variant of it, on Thunk.
What
Thunk,
he did not expect or account for was the blood god living inside of
ex-
Thunk's skull.
exactly. So Thunk fails his wisdom saves, even with a lucky feat attempt, and the vampire burrowed himself into Thunk's mind, only to be cast out by the blood god in a very, very angry type way.
If I
So,
remember, what I was thinking in my head was, I so to call cast you out.
pretty
Something like
much. But what you ended up saying is, no, this one's mind is mine. Or something like that.
something like that,
It sent
yes.
goosebumps up my fucking spine. I am not gonna lie. I felt proud of my character.
Hmm.
So, Thunk goes into a barbaric rage and attempts to grapple or basically hold this man up by the throat and get the party to ask him what the hell was going on that way. But as it turns out, the man had what was it, a 36 in athletics?
He rolled a 36 in
Yeah, he
athletics.
rolled a 36 because he had a strength of 20 and expertise in athletics, and he rolled high. Thunk rolled a 28.
Oh, sorry, not a 36, 32. But still really high.
No, Thunk rolled a 26
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
remember I rolled a nat 19 on that.
I was talking about the mayor. He rolled a 32. Uh, he was one off from a net 20.
Yeah, I was one off from a nat 22. Um, so after that, we ended up rolling initiative. Guatil, Kusali, and Lily ended up going outside the mayor's house to make sure nobody interfered. And the captain of the other ship, Nord, Renji, and Thunk ended up battling this thing. Renji, Nord, and the captain of the other ship didn't get touched. This man was beating the life out of Thunk with a regular greatsword coated in 2d10 poison. Not to mention he had a bullshit homebrew shield ring. You remember that?
To yeah, to be fair, he was a swashbuckler rogue, so the fact that he dealt a lot of damage to you was a given. And given that he was level 9 in swashbuckler, yeah,
Dude, I'm
give
level
him
7 in Swashbuckler. I know what they can do in the other campaign. I'm well aware of what a Swashbuckler can do.
Also, to be fair, I did give him extra bonuses in a second attack, as well as a one legendary action,
We'll
which he could
just
use to either
we'll
attack with his sword or bite.
we'll just put it this way. Thunk's health max health is at 90 something. I think it's 96 or 93,
Hmm.
somewhere around there. And this man had Thunk down to 35 after the end of this fight. And I was raging the whole fucking time.
To be fair, too, he had 100 health, and he could not heal each turn because you were doing radiant damage to him.
And Nord was shooting him with silver bullets.
Hmm.
You know, at least instead of double damage with the radiant, at least you're letting me keep. They can't heal when hit with it.
Hmm.
Let's see what else. Um, oh yes. After the fight, Thunk ends up being being brutal as hell, and then uh, in sweet poetic justice, instead of the vampire invading his mind, he invades the vampire's mind. But after the Thunk and Renji piss this man off to high hell. Thunk's calling him a half-blood, non-royal bastard. Renji's putting freaking inferior thrall skulls on his shoulder. And after that, we extract information on the layout of the Castle Drakendorf, who the Pale Rider is, that basically poisoned the spy master of the king. Um, we found out exactly where the gem is. We found out where the library is. Um,
Library.
yeah, the library on the first floor.
Yeah.
We also found out that there are three riders that is not the Pale Rider. We had the Lich, who we defeated in the swamp. We have the King, who is a monstrous undead that we've got to deal with later. And the Archer, who is in a forest outside of the Castle Drakendorf.
A forest camp to be precise, but yes.
Yeah,
And it lays in between uh Castle Drakendorf and Xanner, so about
yeah,
halfway in between.
yeah, somewhere in there. We're gonna run into him next episode, I guarantee it.
Most likely, yes.
So, um, what ends up happening is we get a lot of information from this guy, like a lot of information. Um, a lot of it has to do with Castle Drakendorf, what happened to the Lord of the Land. Who? This one's the most important one. Who the new Countess and the traitor vampire? I can't remember his damn name.
Dromos Kane.
Dromos Kane. We found out who they served, and it just so happens to be the horned one, Apophis.
Also known as the Great Serpent and the Horned Serpent, but any of those titles are correct.
Thunk just calls it the Great Snake.
Mhm.
Um,
Could also call him the embodiment of chaos, but
I'm
default.
not. Thunk's not gonna call him by any of those prestigious titles. He's just Great Snake.
Mm. As it should be.
Just like if he ever runs into Jormungandr, it's World Snake.
Also, if my voice is a little fancy, sorry, I'm wearing my glasses at the moment, so.
Ooh, fancy.
Fancy.
Let's see, what happened after that? Um, I'm trying to remember all the information we got.
Hmm. You also, among the information you learned the location of the gem that
I
that
mentioned that already.
Sota call us for. Yes, I'm going through it. You learned that a several thousand strong skeleton army lies between you and the prize of Castle Drakendorf.
They're also susceptible to radiant damage since they're lesser
Mm, they
undead.
are. They're also susceptible to bludgeoning damage. You can basically one hit the basic skeletons easily.
Pretty much, because I'm dealing bludgeoning and radiant.
Yeah, so you're dealing double damage to them either way.
Yeah.
Um,
What other information? We got a lot of
did
information out of
you
this guy.
did you mention the subordinates of the Lord Drakendorf that uh stayed with him?
Yes, the underling. She's unlike the Lord Drakendorf, who is under a bewitchment. The
Uh,
underling is not, but she chooses to stay because she is loyal.
More like in love with him, but yes.
Well, you said loyal. We were gonna figure that out anyway.
You were going to figure out completely. I
Oh,
fully expect you to
I
ally
got it.
with her at some time.
I got it. There's one piece of information we got that needs to be in the recording. Um, the location of the virgins. They are
The sacrifice,
underneath,
in other words.
yeah, the sacrifices. They are under Castle Drakendorf, chained up in a room with a pentagram and a whole bunch of sigils and shit. Um,
Just in case anyone was confused.
yes. Let's see, what else? We found out that Mommy Dearest of this bastard son, um, basically just stays in the throne room, like 9 times out of 10. From what the fat guy's memory was and what this guy's memory was, she's normally in the throne room. But other than that, we got the layout of the castle from his point of view, which Thunk basically is committed to memory. Um,
One thing I did forget to mention but was going to is that she also has a bodyguard.
who does?
The vampire lady. She has a bodyguard.
Well, that would have been pertinent information.
Yes.
Well, care to share now?
The bodyguard's name is Ceseros.
He a
A,
vampire too?
not a vampire, an undead of not great power but great endurance.
I was about to say, is he the fucking king?
No, this is a separate person.
Well,
He is nowhere near as powerful as the king. He is merely enduring. Tough, in other words.
I mean
He
that
could
makes
stand
sense.
more hits if I were to be more explicit.
Yeah, it makes sense. Um, let's see, what else? Mm, I think that about does it for information because we pressed him for at the end of the interrogation, we pressed him for information on the Warforged in his town. He had no fucking clue. We pressed him for information on what was it? What was it? We pressed him for information.
'Twas right confused he was by that last one.
Oh, the identity of the Pale Rider, which was confirmed to be Drummus Kane, the traitorous vampire. So Charles is going to have a lot of fun when he finally gets through that barrier.
Charles is going to have a lot of fun.
Let's just hope he's stronger than his younger brother.
Don't worry about that.
Um, office
After
location.
all, I have mentioned before that there are only two vampires in existence to have gone through a certain ritual in which the vampire must fight a dragon, a older ancient dragon, in fact, and kill it and drain its blood. This completely removes their need to drink blood.
Ah,
If anyone's curious, I got this idea from Warhammer Fantasy, as it may be. Little something called Blood Knights.
yeah. Those fucking things. Vampires and fucking power armor.
Hmm.
Or no, those are blood eagles. Are they blood knights or blood eagles?
Blood Knights are a bit different, but they're not completely different. About the same level of threat, I'd say.
Gotcha. So after the interrogation, Thunk proceeds to rip the prince's head off, predator style, and toss the old vampire aside because he got a better trophy. And let's
The old
see.
skull, if anyone was wondering,
Yes, the old skull. He
which had
he crushed
currently
it.
been sitting on his shoulder for some reason.
Yeah, but he didn't want to be anywhere near a lesser vampire or some shit. Um. Anyway,
What I viewed as less, yes.
so Thunk crushed that, took his skull, broke his fangs off, and put him on his trophy necklace for vampires. And then put the prince's head in his bag.
Mm-hmm.
After that, Thunk conveyed to the party that they could have whatever they want in the treasury room in Castle Drakendorf, but Thunk wants the gem because his god is leading him to it, and apparently the gem is cannot be wielded by undead. So we the party feel there is some kind of holiness to it, and that would seem to fit because the blood god is pushing Thunk towards that gem. The party agreed, but Renji set a condition. The condition was only if it wasn't dangerous to Thunk or the party would Thunk be allowed to keep it. Thunk agreed, and then went off to the blacksmith to restud the silver studs in his Kanaboa War Club.
You
Oh yeah, yeah,
mentioned
yeah. Um,
character there.
I missed a certain holy factor. Thunk was bathed in the blood of that prince vampire and dedicated that blood to the blood god, gaining great favor with him. And then he proceeded to go to the blacksmith and get his club restudded with silver spiked studs. During this time, Nord and Renji investigated the mayor's house and found quite a lot of magical items.
Quite a few, yes.
So we found, for starters, the mayor was wearing a leather a leather cloak, or no, it was leather
Letter
armor
armor.
plus dex plus 3.
Mm-hmm.
And we gave that to our resident gunslinger because he's been wanting a new armor. We
And then
also,
you found a bloom of flying.
yep,
A broom
the
of flying, my boy.
this wondrous item is uncommon, and basically until you speak a command word, it hovers and can be ridden in the air like a witch.
It is just a broom from Harry Potter. Just,
Yes.
just that, pretty much.
And since most of the party weighs over 200 pounds, the flying speed would be reduced to 30 instead of 50. So it would be more. It made more sense to give the broom to Debanon.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see.
You
It can
also
travel
found.
alone to a destination within 1 mile. You need to speak the command word, name a location, and are familiar with that place. The broom comes back to you when you speak another command word.
Mhm.
So it can also work as a good diversion or a courier of some kind, which is,
Carrying letters.
yes, just
Only
wrap a
with one
package to the
mile, though.
broom. Look, it does. You could have a squad 1 mile away from you assaulting the other side of a castle, and they need pertinent information about the front.
It
This
can.
thing, this thing can come in handy. It's got some utility uses.
It does.
So we, as a party, decided to give the broom of flying to Debanon.
It also fits Debanon's whole thing.
Yeah,
Shtick.
his old witch thing with ghosts and a talking skull
And
and reading stories from a
learning
book for power.
learning learning abilities from dead spirits,
Yeah, it
flying
it
on a
fit
broom.
it fits the whole witch motif, or technically warlock, because Debanon is a male.
Debanon is also a bard that doesn't act like a bard most of the time.
Yeah, and the freaking the captain has been trying to get frisky with Devanon because she's got a thing for short people, and I think it's gone over his head.
Until Elmeric stated it quite clearly to him.
I don't remember how that went. Did that go well, or
Quite
did?
somewhat. Uh, he stated that Captain Barry had a thing for him, and Debonair was like, "Huh? What? I did not know that."
He's as oblivious as Thunk. Another magical item that we got inside of the mayor's house is Goggles of Night. Since all of us except one party member has night vision, we gave it to Nord, our gunslinger. Now he won't have disadvantage at 60 feet in range at night when he's shooting.
And you also got an alchemy jug, another uncommon wondrous item.
Yeah, something I wanted for Thunk, but Renji wanted it more.
This one was a blue alchemy jug.
Yes, it was a blue alchemy jug. Uh, can do stuff like a gallon of wine, 2 gallons of salt water, 4 gallons of fucking beer, which was my point that it should go to Thunk because Thunk drinks like a fucking.
Or my personal favorite, 1 quart of boiling hot tea.
And
My
Renji's
personal
apparent favorite,
favorite.
2 gallons of mayonnaise.
That threw me through for a loop right there.
Yeah, the amount of laughs we had this session, dude. I am so sorry that the fucking thing crashed.
Uh, he also mentioned the 2 gallons of vinegar for
Vinegar
explosive
bombs.
purposes.
Yep.
And
You're
I
gonna
was like,
regret giving us that fucking alchemy jug. You know that, right?
I fucked up.
It's all right. We live to make you live up to those mistakes.
Uncle Roger looked at me. You fucked up.
Nord ended up getting another magical item in the form of a bullet. You got one walloping ammunition. It's a ammunition DC 10 strength saving throw or be knocked prone.
You also got another bag of holding.
Yes, we also got another bag of holding which went to Renji. Man, I'm
And,
starting to feel like Dunk is being left out of the fucking loophole.
and don't you worry about that. Uh, it's just gonna take you a while to find your rare and legendary items. Don't worry about it.
The damage output, man. The damage output. Nord was putting some fucking damage in with that ice pistol.
Some damages.
The last item we got from the house that was magical was the Wings of Flying. It is a rare item, but while wearing the cloak, you can use an action to speak a command word, and the cloak turns into a pair of bat wings or bird wings on your back for 1 hour. The wings give you a flying speed of 60 feet, and once they disappear, you can't use them for 1d12 hours. We have yet to decide where that's going to go because our resident gunslinger did not want them. Thunk does not need them because, well, what's the point of fucking flying if he's just
I
going to be.
think you guys said that you might give it to Quatil.
Yes, I remember correctly now. We decided as a party that we should give it to our resident baby kobold because having a sniper in the air is a lot more advantageous. And I can't remember how many platinum I got.
Altogether, y'all got 104 platinum because I had you all roll 3d20s. And the adding total to those 3d20s was 104. Congratulations. You rolled high.
Let's see, 45, 36. I think that's higher than 104, dude.
One of you re-rolled
1,
with the
1,
luck.
8, 81, 23. Yeah,
Even though I
you're
probably
right.
should not have allowed that.
Well, it was a use of the D20,
True.
and Lucky Feet says that anytime a D20 is rolled.
True.
But, and all of this was because Renji's player rolled a natural 20 on an investigation check of this house. Well fucking done.
Golf claps. Golf claps all around, my fellow GMs.
And while this was taking place, Thunk was being attempted to be ripped off by a blacksmith, wanting 100 gold for his freaking weapon to be repaired. Thunk proceeded to intimidate this man after successfully inciting him, realizing he was about to get ripped off.
After successfully intimidating him, we have now created a character which may become a running gag in the future.
He can't get a job anywhere because Thunk will be there. And he remembers the faces of the people who try to rip him off. Oh, speaking of that, and Thunk remembering faces, the Dragonborn Empire has made a eternal enemy out of Thunk for poisoning ale. The orc takes his booze very seriously. And in that way, Thunk and Renji have become kindred spirits.
There were other reasons as well. For one, you were very pissed off at them poisoning Debanon.
That too,
Specifically a poison designed to
to
kill
kill
dwarves.
Debanon.
Hmm.
Yeah, Thunk was not very. It was very not happy with the Dragonborn Empire attempting to kill his best friend.
And since it's designed to kill dwarves, it negates dwarves' usual resistance to poison. Mountain dwarf, that is.
And that is also why Thunk had to roll a Constitution check with disadvantage because his poison was even more powerful, and he drunk 2 kegs of it.
It was more you drinking 2 kegs of it that really did it in.
Yeah, hindsight 2020, man. I need to stop trusting bars. More importantly, I need to stop trusting bars in hostile zones.
Uh,
But Thunk will never fucking learn. He's got a -2.
uh,
Anyway, after that, uh, Thunk had a few questions for the Blood God, in which
mm,
the DM left us on a cliffhanger for the last question. I believe one of the questions was, can Thunk get some backup for the fight ahead in Castle Drakendorf, seeing how it's undead and
to which Sotekal revealed that he had a secondary follower that is
champion?
much newer than you are,
Yes, and
and
that
that he
hurt.
could send them to help.
And that hurt. I want to say it injured Thunk's pride a little bit. Felt a little jealous, and Thunk ended up getting it out of the Blood God that the Blood God sent plate armor. Since
Uh,
Thunk's getting the shit kicked out of him.
and the blood god told Thunk not to worry because he shall get him better armor.
We shall see in the future. So it was come to reveal that the paladin of Sotakal is going to be 1 day away because Thunk is going to use his favor with the Blood God, almost all of it. Basically, all of the favor that he bestowed upon himself by killing that vampire prince to transport or teleport her to the barrier, de-escalating her travel time by a day. And then,
Closer even,
yeah,
inside
closer
the barrier.
because or sorry, they are, I don't know if it's a he or she, they are, um, they're human, not undead, so they can get through the portal a lot easier. Um, I hope, yeah, I can't wait to see if it's a tsundere. I can't fucking wait. It's gonna be great. Watch it be a tsundere male. That'd be interesting.
No. That would be uh both intriguing and horrifying.
Right? A tsundere male? Jesus Christ.
I
Um,
Intriguing and horrifying. Yes. Moving on.
we also found out that Charles is a little bit off from that time, even though he had a head start, because of the barrier keeping the dead out. And the blood god reveals that Charles can be very dramatic. So we don't have to worry
Whatever
about
that
the
means.
barrier keeping him out. And he said that he should arrive 2 days or a day after Sotekal's second champion arrives to give us help. And then the cliffhanger. Thunk, after hearing nonstop about Renji's brothers and sisters, thought back to his childhood and asked the blood god one simple question: Is Krunk alive?
To which he responded, yes.
And to which Thunk, taking a hard silence, biting his tongue, said, "Fuck," and planted his fist in the side of a building. And that is where we ended the session.
And if I could add a little bit for that.
Go ahead.
The camera pans out and zooms out as the image of Thunk punching a wall is shown on a watery surface. Above that, a smiling orc with orange skin. We will meet soon, little brother. And then a swipe across the water disperses the image. Fade to black.
That's a hell of a cliffhanger, dude.
Isn't it?
Fuck, dude. I kind of want to keep going, though. Like,
Once makes you wonder whether I was in drama class.
who the
Totally
fuck what?
wasn't.
Who the fuck wasn't in drama class?
I actually
I
wasn't.
was in drama.
I knew some
Seventh
people
grade.
that were in drama,
Yes.
but I was never a drama student myself.
I was in drama in seventh grade. Oh wait, no, I wasn't. I just spent most of my time there because Aaron and a couple of my other friends were all drama nerds.
Some of the drama nerds may have rubbed off on me a little bit.
They may have rubbed off on me too.
Uh, I was I was weird in school. I was a buff nerd. That was weird to almost everyone. Became quite uh influential, let's say.
Yeah. It really fucking shows, dude. Some of these cliffhangers you leave us on are fucking gold.
Hmm.
But we learned about Thunk's brother Krunk, but nobody else in the party knows. It's player knowledge. That's the only one who knows about it is Thunk. And I'm surprised you didn't make me roll a history check on that.
Oh no. Be no point in that.
If anybody knows, if he wanted to, he can't forget his brother, considering, he's stronger, he's smarter. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's gonna be fun when we run into him.
Stronger, smarter, can
Quite
use magic,
possibly. Can quite possibly be faster too.
possibly.
Also, interesting tidbit from this campaign or this session that doesn't really have substantial meaning. We learned that when Thunk has an item that increases his intelligence, it's multiplied. Depending on the item, is how high the multiplier goes. We discussed that a headband of intellect would quite possibly make Thunk the smartest man on the planet until he took it off, potentially making him into a very powerful psychic rivaling Professor X. That's a very scary thought.
The question is, whether would you be more inclined towards telepathy or telekinesis? That would be the question for if that ever happens.
That if that happens, I'd have to incorporate his intelligence into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are certain things that you can do with telepathy that are fucking scary.
Mm.
Like you
Arby's
can,
coupon.
huh?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying you could fucking raid people's minds. You could brainwash them, but at the same time, telekinesis. One of my favorite, superheroes. I can't remember his fucking name. He used telekinesis to upgrade his fighting, as well as throwing people across
Oh man,
distances.
I
He
could tell
increased
you.
he increased the inertia of his fucking weapons to hit harder.
I tell you that is not even the beginning of what you could actually do with telekinesis if you actually had it.
But Thunk with the power to invade people's minds, that is very scary.
Uh, do you want to know what telekinesis is at its basics?
Throwing shit.
Moving molecules with your mind. Do you know what you can do with the power to move molecules?
Probably a lot.
A lot of scary shit, let me tell you.
But that's if Thunk ever gets his hands on a headband of intellect.
But no, have you never considered that all the entire universe is in a constant state of flux with molecules shifting and moving, creating various things, various phenomena, and
Jeez,
doing various things?
jeez, no wonder the Phoenix Force is so fucking terrifying.
If you can control molecules with your mind, and if you get your control so fine as control just one or two at a time, or more simultaneously, dude, telekinesis is scary.
I hate to fucking reference this, but that kind of reminds me of X-Men 3: The Last Stand when Jean Grey's going crazy on fucking Rikers Island
Yeah,
and
that
everybody's getting turned to dust.
you could do that with enough control over telekinesis.
Yeah. But right now, Thunk's not a smart man. He's just a strong man. So that's all he wants to do is get stronger.
Hmm.
Let's see here. Oh, I believe we had a bit of backstory for Debanon, but they were not unable. They were unable to be here due to a computer error. I'm not the only one with computer errors tonight.
Mm.
Her, uh,
Yeah.
her fucking her laptop was plugged in at 60%, and then it just died.
Uh, yeah. I was trying to ask if there were any lights on. I know sometimes with some computers, if they crash, then sometimes there's a light that will go on, and you need to, of course, there theirs is a laptop, so it doesn't quite apply. But
I
sometimes you used to need to shut a computer off and pull out the power cord and whatnot to reset it.
I think it was more of an issue with the battery, but I could be wrong, and Leth might be right. It might be that she fried the GPU.
It is quite possible that's what happened too. But what I described usually would happen in a power outage sort of situation. Isn't very common, but
Yeah. Well, anyway, so that's the session in a nutshell. It was 5 hours long, but we condensed it down to about an hour. A lot of role play, a lot of combat.
a lot of missed opportunity.
What do you mean missed opportunity? We'll talk about this as soon as we're done recording.
Mm.
But anyway, that's the session in a nutshell. Uh, like I said, I found a way to fix this problem if it ever happens again, so we don't have to worry about that happening again.
Arrivederci.
Sayonara.